He is 100% worth it.
He takes it to another level. Oh my God, I just fell in love with it.
Thanks so much, Jay.
Blew my mind. And it worked. I wanted to buy my thing.
Jay is, I would say, the Yoda of sales calls, man.
Just talking to Jay, he was so good at just taking what it is, seeing the opportunity and the value and the real reason we are making it.
Talk to Jay because he got it. He can definitely help you out.
Talk to Jay. You're going to get a lot. You're going to gain a lot.
I would absolutely recommend him for any position that you have.
Jay's definitely the guy.
Give him the chance, give him the opportunity. You won't regret it.
He's good at what he does, so I highly recommend him, and I would book him before he is fully booked out.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Sales Ninja Show podcast, where we cut through the noise, ditch outdated sales tactics, and show you how to close deals with confidence, strategy, and integrity. Hi, my name is Jay Lee, founder of Sales Ninja. As a former banker, former introvert, former pastor, former high-ticket sales ninja, a lot of formers, I now help grow and scale businesses without the need for pushy tactics. And that's the heart of the reverse glass selling method, a kingdom-driven approach from the Bible, 1 Peter 3:15, which is built on trust, service, and true connection. My mission is to help 1 million people break the cycle of generational poverty so that you can sell more to give more. Today, we've got a special treat, something very special. Our guest is a digital marketing expert and high-ticket coach who's helped entrepreneurs scale their businesses with systems and avoid burnout. He's a founder of Seven Figure Path, and he's here to share his proven strategies for scaling with recurring revenue, virtual events, and automated systems without relying on paid ads or burnout. Please welcome the one and only Tech Jedi, Greg Russell.
Oh man, thank you.
Up?
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate
always,
that. Welcome.
Always. Well, what people may not know or may not be familiar with is you were my Tech Jedi, affectionately known as Greg Russell, the Tech Jedi. And what took, I think, 3 months to 3 years of not being able to solve my tech problems, you solved in less than 30 days. So many, many thanks. I'm very, very grateful for you and helping clean up my junk and get me started even on my journey.
Oh man, you're more than welcome, man. Listen, man, Jay, how you doing, man? How are you doing? I know you've been hustling, interviewing people, and really pushing it, man. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing really well. Thanks for asking. Had a great walk this morning. Talked to God. Took the Sales Ninja puppy out. Let her do her thing, and just enjoy. I was even doing a live on Facebook saying I'm thankful for today. 150,000 people didn't open their eyes today globally. That's the morbidity or passing rate every single day. And I said, not just being able to open my eyes, but every single breath that God has given me is a gift. So thank you for asking. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Yes. Started the day with gratitude.
And I know since we've been accountability partners, for, I don't know, maybe a month straight, every single day, it's like we're doing a co-working session, which has been, transformative in my life. So I appreciate you. And I want to thank you. And publicly, demonstrate my love for you because you're a special person in my life. And, you've been, holding yourself accountable to your health as well. Can you tell people what you've been doing, not only as an entrepreneur, and we're going to go into your family life and your faith and all that stuff, but, your fitness as well.
You're going to dig all up into my business.
I'm digging, brother. I'm digging.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, I decided to, get back in the gym. As a former running back and football player, I decided it's time for me to get back in the gym. I realized that I spend a lot of time working at the computer, and even though I'm pretty good at what I do, there's always a price to pay, right? And so no matter whatever you're doing, there's typically a price to pay. Whether that's time away from your family, whether it's money, whether it's energy, whatever you're deciding to do, there's a price to pay. And so, for me, it was like, listen, this working at this computer, is I'm paying a price from just being not moving a lot. And so I decided, listen, I'm going to go back to the gym and get back into working out. And so I have a health coach, and every time I go to the gym, I connect with, I send them a text message, hey, I'm here, I'm leaving, and I usually take a quick screenshot of me leaving, and I'm and
True accountability.
so yeah, just keep me accountable. So yeah, I got back into the gym, and I love going to the gym early in the morning. I usually wake up at 5. I'm usually at the gym by 5:30. And then I'm back in front of the computer at 7 for you and I to do our accountability prospecting that we've been doing for the past few weeks.
Amazing. And that's one thing that I want to highlight, and we'll kind of mention this as a thread throughout, is that consistency. And, some people kind of come and go, and even the burnout. What has been the secret? And we can dive into this a little bit deeper into the business related stuff, but what's been the secret? Because a lot of people come and go. A lot of people come in like maybe a burst or a flame, and they literally burn out because they just had too much, or they couldn't, manage the balance and life and business and the relationships and marriage and parenting. What's a secret to you avoiding burnout and having that consistency?
Jay, I don't know if there's a secret, but I can tell you about me. So for me, I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur at an early age from seeing my parents work jobs, and they struggled to make ends meet working them jobs. And it just was like, there's got to be a better way. And so I was introduced to entrepreneurship at an early age, and I actually attempted my first business at 12. And so, trying to know what you want from the very beginning was key for me, because there were times when it got very difficult. And of course, starting a business at 12, that it didn't work, but I was dedicated to it. I spent my whole, summer every single day working. Really? and going into businesses at 12 to talk to the manager, to get rejected over and over and over again. And guys were thinking like, what is this kid doing in here? Get out of here. I'm not taking you seriously. But I was dead serious. And so that's the only thing that mattered. But as I grew and I continued my, journey on entrepreneurship, there were times when I got hurt and lost money. And those were real critical moments when I could have quit. I could have turned in the, just been like, this is not for me, or this is not working. And I just knew that the opposite was not something I wanted either, right? So I knew working a job was not for me. I knew that early on. I was like, that ain't gonna cut it. That's just, I just can't stand having to be somewhere and listen to someone. It just wasn't. And there were times where I had to do it, right? I've had jobs and I've had to do it, but I just knew in my heart that's not how I wanted to spend my life. And so when those moments came, when I lost money or I got my feelings hurt, it was, okay, this happened, but do I still want to continue my life doing something that I know I don't want to do? Or is this temporary, and can I turn it around or figure something out? And so for me, I always just continued on the path of, I can figure something out. I can get past this. And there were times when, Jay, there's times, man, listen, when you have something going and it all comes crumbling down, there's some times when you think about, I don't know if this is for me. And I know there are points when, for some people, that's when they say, okay, I can't do this. The other thing I think was key was really, because I started so young, I had the support and belief of my family, particularly my mother. She always believed in me and told me I could do what I wanted to do, regardless of the situations. And because of that, I think is why I kept going in those tough times. And I can tell you something else I discovered. I discovered in my studies of entrepreneurship. One of the people I studied years ago was a man by the name of Alex Mondosian, and he's still out teaching people how to grow their businesses. And it was on one particular call, he said he did a study on the most successful people in the world and why they were successful. And this is, listen, Jay, I don't know why this is coming to me now, but I'm going to share the secret. And this is something that I learned. And he said that when he studied a lot of the successful people, the superstars like, Michael Jackson, Prince, and all the things, right? He said he couldn't find anything common. He's like, it wasn't race, it wasn't financial, it wasn't where you grew up. He said there was nothing, it was all over the place except for one thing. He said they typically had a parent, usually of the opposite sex, that when they was younger told them that they could do it.
Wow, really?
So it was a parent of the opposite sex telling them they could be successful or they could do it, and got them to believe in themselves at a young age. And that was the only common thing he was able to find in studying the most successful people.
And does it have to be a person of the opposite gender, or?
He said mostly. Now, if you think about Michael Jackson, for example, his father was Joe Jackson. Let's just leave it at that. His mother was probably more, supportive of him and loving of him. So typically, he said, it's typically of the opposite sex.
Wow, that's so interesting. I'm okay. So that was a great intro. And when you said you started at 12, I didn't know you were that young. My daughter just turned 12 literally today. So happy birthday to my daughter.
Happy birthday.
I can't imagine, her going door to door. And what were you selling and what were you doing? Like, how do you even go door to door as a 12-year-old?
Okay. So I lived in Queens, New York. Okay.
Oh my gosh. My goodness.
And if you ever saw Coming to America,
yes.
The McDowell's was on Queens Boulevard, and I lived near that area. And that McDowell's wasn't a McDonald's; it was actually a Wendy's in real life that they converted. Long story short, that was the area. And so there on Queens Boulevard, there was all these businesses, door to door to door to door. And so my first business was called Candy Coupons, and I was running a local coupon directory for small business merchants. And so I called up and I talked to a printer about how much it would cost to print up, coupons, and I had how much it would take to mail and envelopes, and I had all the numbers figured out. Like, look, I've seen Valpak. I could do the same thing for local smaller businesses, right? And so at that time, I was able to design basic coupons, and I was able to print, right? And so my thing was go to these businesses and offer them to be a part of our mailer. We were going to mail so many thousands of people, right? And so many businesses had to, participate for it to be successful. And so what I did was I took my plans and I got my briefcase and I went into store to store to store. I went to, the pet store, and I went to the I went to all those little different stores up in there trying to sell my thing. And of course, I just a ton of rejection, but I just knew I was going to be able to sell this thing and get my coupon directory off the ground. So that was the first business I did at 12. Candy Coupons was the name of the business.
That's incredible. We're going to give a shout out to a social media queen, Jennifer or Jen Cecil. So thank you for saying hi, Jen. If you have any questions for my tech Jedi, Greg Russell, please ask. Thank you guys for tuning in. So
Jennifer,
tell us,
what's up? Hey, yeah. Jennifer, thanks for tuning in.
Tell us about, your faith-fueled success. You mentioned that your faith guides your personal and professional life. How does this play in your daily decision-making as an entrepreneur? And how do you incorporate faith into your work with your clients?
It's a deep question, and there's many, many pieces to that question. So let me start by saying, during my entrepreneur journey, started at 12 and struggled for a very long time, 10 plus years before we started actually making some money. And then we finally started making money on the internet in the early mid 90s. And we were finally doing well, right? We were making money every single day. It was finally like a breath of fresh air after struggling. Like, Jay, I don't know, man. People today, they have this thing called the internet, and they try to get online and make money. And after 6 months, they like, oh, this don't work.
Yeah.
Well, can you imagine from 12 for 10 plus years, more than 10, maybe around 15 years of struggling, thing after thing keep failing. The candy coupons failed, this failed, the call center failed, putting flyers on cars failed, like everything, nothing. I mean, you'd make some sales here and there, but never more than what you've invested, never making your money back. And so, but still believing that this is the way and this can do it. So after 10 years of this, we finally started making some money. And it felt like we finally arrived. It felt like it took so long, but thankfully we stayed with it. And we were doing well. We were doing well. And then the bottom fell out. and everything changed. The company got bought out, all sorts of stuff changed, and we went from making money to making no money. Now, and it crushed my spirit. And it was like, what is not right here? I was like, what is not right? What's going on? And the only thing I could think of was like, okay, out of all the areas in my life, the only thing that I really wasn't paying attention to was my spiritual life. And so to me, it was kind of like a wake up call saying, God saying, hey, you ain't gonna do nothing without me, bro. And so I was like, okay. And so I decided to focus on that and make that the center of my life. And doing that for a business, just to be transparent, you know, I asked the Lord and Savior to be my business partner.
Wow.
And, right. And I said, listen, if you're in it, you know, and so I was like, you be my business, you know, would you be my business partner? Would you help me make decisions? Would you, you know, just, you know, and so I committed my life to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And I made that the center and put everything else around that. So, did everything automatically turn around? No, but it gave me a peace about everything. Mr. Napier, thanks for tuning in, bro. Appreciate you. That's Pastor Gregory Napier right there.
It? Okay.
Yeah. Great guy. We share the same name. But yeah, so everything didn't turn around immediately, but I had a peace about myself and about my business and the people that I was attracting to all of a sudden seemed to be different. And I could tell that there were things happening. And then I started being in connections and business and meetings that I would just ask myself, there's no reason why I should be here, right? There's no reason why I should be in the same, so for example, I got invited to come out and speak to a real estate investors association, which I was partners with the National Real Estate Investors Association for a number of years. And they would ask me to come out and speak. And, you know, at the end of the day, when people go home and stuff, and two of the bigger investors were sitting there talking, and because everybody had left and I had a table in the room, it was just 3 or 4 of us. And these investors are making millions of dollars and they're talking about their strategies. And I get to sit in and just listen.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, how could, why am I here? And so it was just like, I know he was putting people in places and things that opened up doors that I could never open up for myself because he was now the center of my life. And that has always been the case. And always, it's always those type of connections that have helped me get to where I am. And even the connection, with you, like former pastor. And then, he started putting pastors all around me. Everywhere I went, I'd fly on a trip to a plane. I'm sitting next to a pastor, I'm attracted to this young lady, and I started, trying to talk to this young lady, and her father's a bishop, and like that lady is now my wife. So, it's kind of like,
wow.
He just started doing it everywhere. So then there was this conference, right? And so I asked the question. I said, Lord, where are you in this business thing? Like, because this money thing is personal to people, and it's, people have the wrong perceptions of money. Where are you in this? Where are you in this? And so then I got invited to a conference in Los Angeles. Let me try if I can get the name right. The Mega Marketing Conference by Mark Victor Hansen. And so when I went to this conference, the first thing they did on the opening day was pray. And I was like, wow, I've never been to a business conference where they started off in prayer. And so it was like, he was like, here I am. He's like, I'm in this. I'm all in this. And so for me, it was just something that when he's a part of it, things are different because he makes you different. And so the business slowly turned around, and I was able to build a business that I'm proud of.
Amazing. Speaking of proud of, it's a perfect segue. I mean, it wouldn't be, right without mentioning the people that you love the most, which is the bishop's daughter and your superstar, your daughter, Princess, Disney, Lion King. So tell the audience about, the two loves of your lives.
Okay. We'll start with the first love, my wife. I'll tell this story, Jay, and it's funny because I never shared this before, but
really, come on, you've been live a lot.
and I hope it don't get me in trouble. So make sure you. But at the time, I was working for Budweiser beer in New York City, and my now wife at that time lived in Pennsylvania. And so I remember wanting to, and I was working my business, and I would get up early to go work for Budweiser and put beer on the shelves and go home as fast as I can to get back to the business. And I remember this one day where I really just didn't want to do it anymore, right? I just wanted to focus on my business. And this particular day, I had put the beer on the shelves, and I dropped bottles. Several bottles fell, and I got beer all over myself, and I smelled like beer, and I was frustrated, and I was like, this just absolutely sucks.
Oh man.
And I called my then girlfriend, who is now my wife, and I was like, I just want to work on my business, right? I just want to work on my business. And she's like, well, if that's what you want to do, then you should do it.
Wow. Support.
And her saying that shifted something in me, Jay. Her saying that shifted something in me, and I was like, it's my 2 weeks. It's my 2 weeks. I'm done. And I was so afraid that I wouldn't be able to pay my bills that first year in business, I was just hustling. I mean, I was just like, I got to make sales. I'm afraid. And that first year, I doubled what I made in that job in my own business. I made twice as much. And so I tell people sometimes when they're, looking like, should I do it? Like, if you put yourself in a have to situation, you never know how you're going to react. And so when I put myself in a have to situation, I did twice as much as I did for myself than I did for someone else. And her father is a bishop. So if y'all connect those dots. So we got married. And then we had my daughter, Sydney. And Sydney, from the very, very beginning, I just knew she was special. She could do things at a very early age. She could mimic my facial expressions. If I blink, she would blink. Like we have this thing, I'd blink with two eyes, she'd blink with two eyes. I'd blink with two eyes, she'd blink with two eyes. It was crazy. And then my wife's leading worship, and she can sing. And how we met, let me just backtrack a little bit. Since you're asking me all about my business, how we met is she won in Pennsylvania. They had a Harrisburg Idol, and she won the Harrisburg Idol because she can sing.
Wow.
And one of the things that she won was a trip to New York to meet with record executives. And so when she came to New York, we met. So we had Sydney, and then we took Sydney when she was 5 years old to see the Lion King that was traveling to Houston, because we live in Houston. After we moved from Pennsylvania to Houston, and so we're in Houston. We took our daughter to see the show, and when she saw young Nala come out, which is a little girl who plays that part, she was like, "Mommy, is that a little girl?" She said yes, and she was like, "I want to do that." And so we said okay. So then we put Sydney in children's acting class. She was acting with other children, and she excelled. My wife taught my daughter how to sing. And so she loves musical theater. She's in musical theater. So now she's in musical theater, and she says, okay, this is fun, but I want to do it for real. So from children's theater, we put her in community theater, where she's acting with adults. And she excels there. And she's just a shining light from a young age. And then, when she said she wanted to do it real, we had a family conversation, and we was like, look, if we're going to commit to doing this, you got to commit to doing this. That means there's going to be times when you're not going to want to, do the work. And if you're going to commit it to doing the work, then we'll commit to you. And she was like, yes, I commit to doing the work. And we explained, that means there's going to be times when you're going to want to play or do something else. And we're going to say, no, you committed, and you're going to have to do the work. And she said, I understand. And so we started on this path. So we got a representation. And it's funny because the first time I called one of these management companies in California, I called and I was like, hey, I'm looking to get management for my daughter. And they were like, we don't. They was like, you can't just call and get management. You got to be referred. And I was like, well, how do you get referred? And it was like, click. Oh man. Anyway, so we put her. She got representation. She was taking acting class. She got a commercial. So the first thing she did was she did a commercial, and she got a commercial for Ram Truck, and it was a global commercial, and it was near the new year, and so it was in several markets, and she was supposed to be just background, but she got bumped up. And FYI, what I recognized was from the commercial. Just FYI, every time the commercial ran, she would earn money. So we spent one day, Jay, check this out, one day in Austin, all day. Like we had to be there at like 6 a.m. It was an all day shoot. But that one day, she kept getting checks for the next year, almost monthly.
Wow.
And it accumulated to over 10K for that one day.
What?
Yeah. So then we auditioned for The Lion King, and she didn't get it. And then she auditioned for The Lion King again, and she wasn't really going to audition, and she did get it. And The Lion King kind of opened up the floodgates. But before that, I skipped the part. Before that, when she was 8 years old, because we took her to see The Lion King when she was 5. She went viral when we took her to Disney for her birthday. She went viral for a dance that she did, and then she got oh crap. Oh man. Oh, she said, "I'm not in trouble." Yes, I read it wrong. I thought it said you're in trouble.
Yeah. It's funny how you just assumed that you're in trouble, but
yeah,
someone's watching. Someone's watching. So
someone's watching. Okay, I gotta straighten up now.
Yeah.
So so she went viral, and then that got her on TV the first time. And if you see that picture right there, you have on the screen with the guy who looks like he's in a fencing suit.
Yeah.
That one, she was on the Sarah Strahan and Kiki show for the second or third time, but it got her on national television on Good Morning America 3 times, which was the Sarah Strahan and Kiki show.
Wow.
So she got on TV 2 times, and then after that, we auditioned for The Lion King, and she got The Lion King. And so we had to temporarily move to New York for 7 months for her to do The Lion King, and so we were able to do that.
I know this is putting you on a spot. I didn't set you up for this, but is there any clip where we can see her either act or sing that would, for the audience that's watching?
Yes, act or sing. If you go to the top, there should be a few, because I think you're on the
pinned. Yeah, Instagram.
Yeah. You wait, stop. Yeah, go to the reels.
Okay, over here.
And so that first video is her singing in the house.
Here, this one?
Yep.
Okay, can we play that one?
Yeah, do you have it where the sound will play?
I'm not sure. You tell me if you can hear it.
Mother, savage daughter, the one who runs barefoot, cursing sharp stones. I am my mother's savage daughter. I will not cut my hair. I will not lower my voice.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
So good.
There's a couple on that page that she's singing. The one that has 768,000 views, the third one, that's her singing in the airport while she was on tour with Frozen.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah. So there's quite a few of them, and yeah, she's a lot of fun. She does things around the house all the time. The latest one she just did is the one where it looks like she's jumping and there's a fire behind her. She does a skit where this is crazy. She does a skit where she plays 2 characters in an action movie, and she's like, coming soon. It's really cool.
This one here?
Yep.
Agent Baker and Agent Abbott, you're on this. Find him fast.
This case is never going to work. We are FBI agents with a job to do. Our divorce doesn't matter.
Very specific taste.
So, are we ready to do this? Oh, yeah. Just make sure you take it seriously and try not to die. Always.
Well done, Sydney. Amazing.
Oh yeah, lots of fun. Lots of fun.
Very cool. Well, thank you for highlighting the loves of your lives. It's a perfect segue, to talk about how you help scale businesses without the burnout. And we talked about earlier how, so many people have come and gone. And I guess the question is, burnout is a common issue for entrepreneurs scaling their businesses. How do you coach your clients to scale without compromising their health, personal lives, and avoid burnout?
I think a lot of times it's the business model. Like, are you following the right business model for you? And I think nothing happens until sales are made. So a lot of times with a lot of especially now with a lot of anybody can be a coach, anybody can watch videos and then say they can help other people, and it's just there's a lot of things you can do. You can post, you can create graphics, you can do a lot of things, but at the end of the day, nothing's going to move your business until a sale is made. Mm-hmm. And so creating videos, creating webinars, like all of the stuff, if it's not going to end in a sale, it don't matter, right? So there's a lot of things you can do that may or may not end in sales. And so the business model has to be right for you, and it has to produce sales, because without sales, nothing else happens. And then you have to fulfill on those sales. So does the model allow you to grow properly, right? Can you grow? If you think about your business, right? And if you get 5 or 6 sales today, that's great. If you get 5 or 6 sales the following day, that's great. Can you fulfill that? If you got another 5 or 6 sales after that, the following day, can you do that? If all of a sudden you got 20 sales a day after that, when is there a point to be where is it going to be a problem, right? Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times people's business models aren't set up so that they can grow, because they can't fulfill a large number of influx of business anyway. So either you're not making sales or enough sales, or if you do start making sales, your business structure can't handle the growth. And so I experienced this early on with when we were doing nutritional supplements, and we were selling these nutritional supplements online early on, like in the late 90s. And this was before Google, and Google came in the mix around that time. And so what happened was we were ordering what's called a master case. And a master case was 12 cases of this nutritional supplement, right? And so it was 144 bottles. Now, it would take 3 days for us to get the master case, but every single day we're making orders. So sometimes time we got the master case, we had already sold out, and then we had to order another and wait another 3 days, right? It's like, at what point does it cause a problem? Because a lot of times businesses are, you get excited about getting them started and doing all the stuff. But when it really gets going, can you handle the growth? Mm-hmm. And can you fulfill the things that are coming in? And so sometimes in the coaching consulting world, people want to limit the number of people in their cohorts or groups. Like, I'm only going to take 20, but it's like, one, can you fill the 20? And then what about, having more? Like, if you could fill them, could you do so there's always limitations that people need to look at. How is the business structured? Mm-hmm. Is it structured that you can really, really grow? And I think for a lot of people, they either suffer from not being able to generate enough sales, or not being able to handle the growth if there are more sales than they can handle. So that's the first thing.
Well said. Is there another thing?
Huh?
I was going to ask you about the 7-figure path. We also want to say hi to some people who are saying hi to you. You have fans from J Ma and Pastor Greg Napier, yeah. And your better half saying that you're not in trouble, and Jen Cecil. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Wanted to also share a highlight on the 7-figure path, because this is the program that you help entrepreneurs scale their coaching or consulting businesses and to help them grow in their leads and their sales and avoid burnout. So is it okay if we kind of present and share some of your slides and you can walk through them?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. So this is all about, how you can hit your goals. So let's assume for a minute you have your business model right, the way that you can grow, you can sell it, you can scale it, for better words. But it's the right business model. But for that to happen, and for the growth that you want to happen, for you to hit that 6 figures and then 7 figures, there's 3 things that must be in line, right? And these are the 3 things you have to focus on. And that is your systems, your offers, and most importantly, you. And a lot of times, Jay, with coaching and consulting, I lost my place here. A lot of times, they sell you on, you don't have the right systems, right? And so you need to get the systems, and we're going to offer you the systems so that you can, grow your business, right? And so you need to have the systems. And if you have one of them out of a line, most of the times you're not going to hit your goals, right? And then a big one is, especially over the last 2 years, was offers, right? So Alex Ramosi came out with his book, $1 Million Offers. And then so many people started to look at your offer. And so, you either have to have the right offer or you need to make enough offers to move the scale. And so usually when it comes to offers, it's either you don't have a good one set up properly, or you're not making enough offers to move the scale. Okay. And then the last one I think is the most important. This is you. Like, if, again, one of these things is out of line, you can't grow to 6 and then even 7 figures. And what I've seen over the years is a lot of times some programs will offer you the systems and help you with your offers, and then they'll blame you not having success because you aren't doing the stuff, right? You're not following through, you're not implementing, you're not doing the stuff. And a lot of times the you part is, a lot of times people don't even think that, oh, I need to work on me, I need to build me up, I need to build my confidence. Like it's not even on the forefront of their mind. And so a lot of times, a lot of clients that I have talked with and worked with in the past who have been in other programs, they felt like the coach or consultant blamed them for not for not being the person they need to be in order to take advantage of their program. So at the end of the day, you need to have all 3 of these things aligned so that you can take advantage of it. And so I want you to think of it like transformation happens when all those 3 things are aligned. You can open that door to the freedom and the lifestyle you want, but you have to have those things in alignment first.
I love it. I'm a visual learner, so that makes sense and it resonates. A lot of people are on this AI train, and I know that you have been learning and refining and mastering your knowledge in AI. And I know I have personally tested your voice AI and its ability to qualify calls, set calls, and potentially even close calls. Where's the future with your system and AI and powering businesses that many of them are left behind, or using old marketing tactics, maybe the ones that you've used, door to door or flyers, and a lot of them do work, but to scale and the time that we have, or limited time, and the cost is enormous. So tell us more about empowering entrepreneurs with AI.
That's a good question. AI is, any of the software and tools that you are using have already embedded AI into the tools that you're 99% already using. So it's going to be very hard for you to completely ignore it. But I think that AI is changing so fast that it's very hard to understand exactly how it's going to change things. But we can look back in history and see how technology has changed things for those in the past, and how it shaped things to predict how it will change things in the future. I think for a lot of us right now, the technology is changing, and it is changing things in a way where a lot of us are concerned about how it's changing, and also at the same time excited about what we can do. I think that AI can help a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, if they use it in the right way. and they understand it at a gut level of what it can do and what it can't do. And I think right now we're all trying to figure it out. I'm excited about what it can do for me and my business, but I also understand that in some cases it has leveled the playing field in some aspects, because now most people who can use ChatGPT or any AI half decently can be a good copywriter. Right? They can what it was a few years ago when you had to rely on your own mental process to be able to write well enough to generate sales. Now everyone can do it. So there's two things that's going to happen. Some people are going to be able to use it and to generate sales, but at the same time, people are going to start to ignore or not be as affected the same way, because the things we are seeing now can be it's going to be more and more people of creating not necessarily similar stuff, but it's like the pattern. If you see something over and over and over, you kind of get used to it. It doesn't affect you the same way. So for a perfect example, there's a new movie coming out this week, I think on Friday, the new Jurassic Park movie. Now, I'm a big movie guy, so I love going to the movies, but I remember the first Jurassic Park, when you saw the dinosaurs for the first time, the way it was unique, because you didn't see I wouldn't say animation. You didn't see it like that. The special effects were new. Those special effects were new. You didn't see it like that. And so it had a tremendous effect because it was new and you haven't seen anything like that. Now, when it came out with the other movies, the other movies obviously wasn't as big because you kind of knew what to expect. You've seen it before.
Right.
And so the same thing with, copywriting and sales and landing pages, like, everybody sharing this information means the effectability of how things hit the consumer comes down. They're not as effective the same way anymore. So I think, you have to find ways to stand outside the box, like completely, because so many people now can write at a level better than they could, years ago in an instant, and they can create graphics in an instant. And so now the average person with AI can do things way beyond what they could years ago. And so you have to find a way how, if you're going to use AI, how can you use it better in a more effective way than what everybody else can? And I think that's what a lot of smart entrepreneurs are figuring out.
Amazing. So there are a lot of people who are listening here who may be struggling as entrepreneurs, like you mentioned, when you were 12 and, 10 to 15 years of not being able to make money, and then cracking that code and learning to build systems and scale with automations and AI. The person who's listening out here, how is it that you help them? How is it that, like, they may be wanting to, hit you up and, DM you and say, I heard your podcast on the Sales Ninja Show podcast. This is the struggle that I face as an entrepreneur. Who is it that you help? How do you help them? And what are some practical ways that they can hear how you can help them so they can maybe reach out to you?
Well, listen, Jay, I'm having the 7-Figure Masterclass coming up at the end of this month. And I would highly recommend that if somebody wants to get a really good understanding of how they can grow their business to 6 and then 7 figures, to attend the event. On the screen at the bottom, it's right there, 7figurepath.com/J-guest. We want to know you're coming from Jay's group, so go ahead and enter that there. And then we will dive into that, all the specific things you need to setting up the right model for you, how to reach people consistently, how to sell one-to-many, and how to price your offer so that you can help people get into it, whether they're just starting out or experienced. You need to be able to help the masses, not just one specific type, and we show you how to do that. So the 7-figure path is the exact path you need to generate a business, and it's specific, right? It's like, if you're interested in being having a small one-person or small team business and generate 7 figures, there's a specific path. Like, a lot of times, Jay, if you want to be a doctor, there's a path, right? You go to school, you get this degree. If you want to be this type of doctor, then you go get this stuff, right? There's a path. But when it comes to, making money as a solo entrepreneur, it's a lot of times there's courses and there's training and there's things, but a lot of times they don't show you the exact path. What we do in this program is we show you the exact path so you can see it and then know, okay, first I need to do this, and I need to stay on this step until I get to this point, and then I need to go to that point. And so, you know, a lot of times is breaking down a lot of the things that people hear. And Jay, if we can go to the slides just one more time, give me 1 second.
Yeah, I'm going to put you on the slides.
Give me 1 second before I say so. Okay.
You ready?
Yep. All right. So, for example, like one of the things you're talking about is people use the word scale your business. You scale your business all the time. But the reality is scaling your business means building and leveraging systems that let you multiply revenue without corresponding increase in cost or complexity, right? So if I stop right there, 9 times out of 10, most people are misusing the word scale every time you see it on the internet, right? Because if you have to invest in it to scale it, you're not scaling, you're growing. So a lot of times we use the words in the wrong context. So you want to grow your business, and then once you grow your business, you can find something in that growth to scale. Does that make sense? You can scale something in that growth.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't scale to infinity. You can only scale but so far before you need to grow again. So growing is one thing. Growing means you're willing to invest money into your business. You're willing to invest something back into it and find something that you can scale, something that you can increase things without increasing the cost or complexity. We need to get specific about the words we use. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm like understanding step 1 and what to do and the words you use, because words have meaning, right? And I've heard this when I was young. It didn't make sense. I heard change your language, change your life. And I was like, that's dumb. That don't make no sense. Now that I'm older and more wiser, I get it. I understand it now. And it's the truth. We got to look at the words you're using, or look at the words people are using when they're talking to you. And 9 times out of 10, sometimes they're saying words that aren't the right meaning. So highly recommend you guys check it out. The 7-Figure Path show you exactly how to do it, so that you know exactly what you need to do to grow your business so that you can get to 7 figures without the stress, because you don't want a business that stresses you out. You don't want a business where you're just creating another job for yourself. You want a business that gives you the freedom that allows you to have the type of lifestyle you want. You want a business that feeds your lifestyle, not the other way around.
Well said. Okay, that brings us to the end of our Sales in the Show podcast with Greg Russell. We're going to do a lightning round to get to know Greg better. So I'm just going to, in 60 seconds or so, give you a bunch of just, questions that you could just off the top of your dome, just share what your thought is, your react to whatever the question is. So daily routine, what does a typical day look like for you, balancing your coaching business and family life?
Starts off with the gym, and then some prospecting, and then I take some time for my mental stuff, where I go through my morning routine with prayer and looking at my goals. And then I spend the rest of the day working on projects, and then I spend some time with the family.
Awesome. Go-to business strategy. If you could recommend just one strategy to entrepreneurs looking to scale, what would it be?
One strategy would have to be using video, live streaming, using video, YouTube channel, video.
Nice. Now, personal mantra. Do you have a personal motto, quote, Bible verse that drives your success every single day?
Believe in yourself and put God first.
Nice. Unexpected hobby. Is there something surprising about you that most people don't know that you do behind the scenes that you enjoy?
I'm a thrill seeker. I love motorcycles. I ride a motorcycle, got a motorcycle. I love roller coasters. Been skydiving twice. Secretly, I'm a thrill seeker. I want to get out there and do it.
You're just a big kid.
Yes. Yes.
Last question. Favorite book. What's one book? And I know it's going to say Bible, so not the book of the Bible, because we already know that's a given. That has a significant impact on your personal or entrepreneurial growth.
I can't read it as backwards, but it's The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes.
amazing. I'll really love that one as well. And I'm going to ask you to even plug the one that you mentioned to me that I'm really enjoying as well. It's a similar title, The Ultimate
Coach.
Yes, sir. That was a segue.
The Ultimate Coach.
And why
by
should people listen?
Amy Hardison, and it's about the ultimate coach, who is Steve Hardison. And that part about working on you from the slide that I showed, that's the coach that helps you be the best you that you can possibly be, so that you can take advantage of the systems and the offers that you've learned from Jay, myself, or any other coach out there.
So well said. So thanks, Greg, for just sharing your passion, your 12-year-old self, door to door, knocking on doors, not wanting to get a job, not wanting to have a boss, not wanting to work for others, but you'd rather pound the pavement and pound on the doors and say, I don't want to work for anyone. I don't want to have a job. And I don't want to quit because I want to be able to do this life on my own terms. And I love how one of the, gold nuggets of many that you talked about was that when you had the support and belief of someone, mostly of the opposite gender, speaking into a child's life or a young person's life, that made all the difference. And interestingly enough, you had the support of the opposite gender from your mother and your wife. And now you're also speaking into your daughter's life. So that's full circle.
Yes.
So any last words for people who are thinking about getting a job and looking at quitting entrepreneurship?
That's a hard decision. That's a conversation between you and God. But if you still have desires, hit us up at the7figurepath.com/J-guest and come figure out maybe some steps or things that you may have missed if that's what you're considering. So with that, man, that's all I got.
Awesome. I don't know if Paige is someone from your audience.
Yes, Paige, how you doing?
She wants to
She's
say
awesome.
hello. Awesome. So thank you guys for tuning into the Sales Ninja Show podcast. That was an incredible episode with the one and only Greg Russell, aka Tech Jedi. If you guys want to follow him, you can follow him on the social media links that we've sent below. And feel free to get a guest pass complimentary to the 7-Figure Path Masterclass event at 7figurepath.com/J-guest. Again, Greg, always a pleasure and looking forward to our next episode. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Bye for now.
Take care.